A small town roots where the stories run deep. Amador County secrets we keep. Kandi and Garrett bringing the talk. Who, what, where every Sunday we rock. From schools and teams to the county fair. New biz, old roots, dandelion days in the air. Leaders and local stories that wow. Real Talk Sundays. Tune in now.
Welcome back to Getting to Know Amador County with Real Talk with Kandi Thompson.
And Garrett Gray.
Yeah, so we just had an election.
Yeah.
And we felt like it was necessary to actually come to you kind of in real time. So we are actually filming this on the Saturday before the Sunday that this goes live. Because we just wanted to talk about the results of what happened. So we had, so in the state of California, obviously there were elections all over. This is the primary for many, but we have our stats for you because this is a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I thought it was super interesting that Amador County generally has a really good turnout on voter turnout.
Yeah.
Primaries are not. So the primary generally is preparing for the main election in November, right? So it's narrowing down the candidates to where we know who's going to be on the ballot for November. Primaries aren't super popular with getting a large voter turnout. I think this one probably was for California just because of the governor race.
I think it just a lot more was being publicized and being known more than I've seen in a lot of years, I believe, because just the way that social media is nowadays. So it's gotten a lot more people in tune with what's going on more so.
True.
And with the years of stuff that's happened in the past now, I think people are taking more of a personal interest in it.
No, I agree. And I think like for Amador County, we had a couple of big supervisor races.
Yeah.
And so and I mean, now going into November, we'll have the school board, you know, I mean, there's always something. So it was interesting. California statewide had about 28.6% turnout. Keep in mind, they don't actually solidify all of these or like, what do they call them?
Estimates?
They're still unofficial until July 10th.
Okay.
So they don't actually like verify and confirm everything until July 10th. So these are still preliminary numbers, but this puts us second among the states of reported voter turnout in 2026.
As of June, yeah.
So just for this one, so Oregon had the highest. They were 31.9%. Texas 24%. Alabama 23%. Idaho 22%. Kentucky and Georgia 20%. North Carolina 19.7%.
Wow.
So those are all the ones that had primary races. Amador County had 59.93% turnout. So that's amazing.
That is good.
Yeah, we do always have historically a higher turnout than, I mean, in the 2024 race, we actually had, and that was the presidential race. Amador County had about 85% voter turnout.
Really?
So I want to say it was like 22,000 out of 26,000 registered voters. So we are, you know, a good turnout on the voter side. So this time we had out of 26,945 registered voters, Amador County had 16,148 people that turned out.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's more than double the statewide rate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it's good to see those numbers that we're taking an interest in making sure that our vote is counted because you've talked to it before, and we even said when we were getting out there, I'm like, hey, go vote, go do your thing. Yeah. It's your right to. I mean, you talked about that one race that was 12 off, right? 12 off. Now we're looking at some of these racing numbers that we've had here, and they're only a couple hundred.
That's right.
Right, and we're at 16,148 in the ballot, right? I mean, that could have changed the tides in any different way.
Absolutely.
Now you imagine if the other 40% came out.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it is, so with the races locally, I know that the race between, so for District 5, for supervisor, was between Jamie Lebenko and Brian Oneto.
Right.
We interviewed both of those guys if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. 214
vote difference. So Jamie Lebenko actually succeeded in that race and 214 vote turnout. So we do want to say, difference. Thank you to Brian. Brian served 20 years.
20 years.
20 years serving
20
Amador
years in
County.
anything you do. I mean, that's a stretch of time that, you know, good, bad, and ugly, you did it, right? So that's a huge feat.
Huge commitment.
Some people can't even do a job for 20 years. You know, that actually is something that's paying you and making sure that you have a livable wage. This one was also putting out to the community, right? So huge respects to Brian. Thank you for your time in doing that and making, I guess, District 5 what it is, I guess, today, right?
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? I was talking to Brian and his son, Ben, a couple days before Election Day. And you know, it was like, Brian said, I can't lose either way. Yeah. Like, you know, if I get it, great. And if I don't get it, he gets to now. Ben was like, we're going to go fishing. We're going to go hunting. We're going to go doing all this stuff.
Look at all the free time I have.
Exactly. So they can't lose either way, right?
Right.
Yeah. So no, that was a very tight race in Amador County. So California, as we know, is a blue state, right? It's a pretty red state, except for the, you know, San Francisco and LA,
the you know, metro areas,
which have huge populations, which always swing us blue, right? So so in this race, I know that it says for the country, California matters because of House control. So the Prop 50, where Newsom redrew the lines, which you guys saw, that all happen, that changed the congressional battlefield, and so now several California House races are now part of that national majority fight. Wow. And so that changed it a little bit. Talking about, you know, we also had, so upcountry, we had the District 3 race with Jeff Brown and Nathan Moeller. Right. Jeff blew him out of the water. No, I mean, it was a
great candidate though, too.
Yeah. 68% to 31%. So
I'd say that's probably the biggest gap that I saw when we were talking about the numbers, I guess like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
That I saw was coming up. And again, we also did interview Jeff Brown. If you guys haven't seen that, go ahead and check out our podcast. He came out and kind of told us what he's been doing and what he's trying to plan to do for the next in the future. So I think
well, that's what's fun is that if you didn't follow the races very closely, right? Now's a great time to go back and listen to who won and hear what their plans are for the future. That's a great idea. So when it comes to the supervisors, obviously this is a little bit different than like a governor or like the Congress. This is more like land use, housing developments, you know, economy, just make fire protection a big topic in our area, roads, fire protection, roads. And so just local regulations, that's really the supervisor's role. So Marie Alvarado Gill was running. So this was for state senate. She has served as state senator for the last 4 years for our region. So her, if you haven't seen that interview, check out
also,
Marie.
We talked to her. Yeah. I mean, who haven't we talked to,
She's still really awesome. Marie did not win. Right. So what that was, is it was taking the top 2 vote getters to the November race. That's what that was going to do. Okay. She started out as the sole runner, obviously, as well as the incumbent. But then there was a Democrat that jumped into the race and another Republican. Yeah. So what I feel is the biggest situation that happened there is those 2 Republicans split the vote. Yeah. So the Democrat got 40% of the votes. Alexandra Duarte got 32.3%. Okay. And Marie Alvarado Gill got 27.4%. However, she killed it in our county. Right. I mean, she definitely won in Amador County. But one of the things I have to say about that race, I've got to be honest, like, I don't like when people run based off of bad mouthing the other person. Really? I can't stand that. Like, I feel like, say what you're going to be good at. Say how you're going to,
let the people choose off of what you believe and you're running for. Don't just put your whole basis off of negativity towards another person.
That's exactly right. And I think to myself, like, that says a lot about that person. Yeah. When all they're doing is pointing fingers, instead of saying, here's what I can do for you. Here's how I can benefit your area. And that was even in Alexa. Now, I want you to know, Alexandra Duarte, there was some controversy with Marie Alvarado Gill because she switched parties in the middle, right? Right. Yes. So Marie was a Democrat. On and tell us she was a Democrat. Why. She was what she called a moderate Democrat when she ran for state senate. So she was voted in by the Democrats. And mid-term, she changed her party to Republican. So if you guys have not heard that, listen to her her podcast. That was interesting. But she just didn't like what was being handed to her. She felt like it really wasn't her, it really wasn't her what was happening.
Yeah.
And so like the choices that she was having to make and the things that were coming down the pipe, it just wasn't her. And so she did decide to stand firm and true to her colors and who she is. And that's why she switched parties middle of the road.
Right.
But man, Alexandra Duarte had a heyday with that.
Really?
I mean, it was like a smear campaign.
See, I don't think I saw any of that. And that was was that on
so
social
bad.
Medias or?
It was on social media. And then even in Alexandra Duarte's candidate statement in the candidate book, she was like talking about how, you know, being Republican, she's been a Republican for all these years. And that's super great. Like, you guys all know Democrat looks different today than it did before, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I actually, it's the whole political thing, and we're not going to go into it, and we don't have Adam, so he's our guru on everything.
Right.
But it is like being a Democrat today looks different than it did 40 years ago. And so that name means different. No, it really does.
I mean, you really look back and you start pulling some weeds back. I feel like they've always been the same.
No, it's true, but there's a
what they stood for and what they were backing, I think, has changed.
And I think just as far as like the divisiveness, and I feel like there's just a lot today that we've not seen previously. I mean, I would say the last 8 to 12 years.
And what happened in the last 8 to 12 years? Social media became so pronounced that it's like you can get anything out now, and you're starting to see a lot of a different light. So, I mean, I guess I would agree, but also disagree that I think that they may have been the same way the whole time. It just wasn't as highlighted or being able to be viewed or seen how they were actually justifying themselves on what they were doing. Because it's all we knew. I mean, back to 8 to 10, 12 years ago, I mean, social media was around, but it wasn't as dedicated to getting information out. And so you only went to the news. And so the news was only putting out what they were told or given. But now you're getting people out there that are doing full research and putting it out on social medias, but not having to be filtered by, you know, whatever media outlet was out there. I think it may have been the same the whole time. We just have kind of been blind-eyed to it.
This would be good. You guys drop it in the comments what you think. And so one thing that I think that has is kind of interesting is that like the Democrat Party, I mean, it's so with social media, that's definitely highlighted it. But with social media, you only see what you look at.
And that's another thing too.
That's something people don't realize. I have a sister one time that said something about the political campaign. And we do have a mixed family. We have family that are Democrats. We have family that are, libertarians. We have family that are conservatives. Independent. We do have a mixed family. And so we definitely don't talk politics. But one thing was like, Kandi, that's what everything is saying. That's what all the information is saying. And I said, it's because that's all you watch.
Right.
That's all your feed is going to give you.
Yeah, the feed's only going to give you what you're going to watch. Yeah.
If you actually want to see both sides of anything, not even just politics, if you want to see both sides of anything, you got to look stuff up.
You do.
You actually have to look up what like the Democrats think, look up what the Republicans think, and then you'll get a mix in your social media feed. But if you don't, it literally just gives you what you look at.
Yeah. It's just so much nowadays, and you got to filter it through. But okay, so back to the stats here that we're working through.
So the two top vote getters for the state Senate, the District 4 state Senate that Marie Alvarado Gil held for the last 4 years, and did an incredible job, by the way. Marie did an incredible job. Thank you, Marie, for your service. That is Jared Brandon and Alexandra Duarte. So that's going to be something that will be on our ballots in November to vote for that. So pay attention. We will try to get both of them in to interview both of them. So you actually have an idea of who you're voting for. The reason that Marie Alvarado Gil is a big story is because she did switch parties. Yeah. So that was coming off of the data that came out is that she switched parties, and then because of that she split her vote. But to be honest, it didn't matter whether she was going to be running Democrat or Republican. There was going to be a split vote on either one.
Regardless. Yeah. Well, I mean,
let's look a little bit more. So we talked about that. Now, as far as the governor race is concerned, so this was something, if you guys have been following with us, you did see that we interviewed
Sheriff Chad Bianco.
Yep, Chad Bianco, who for me, Chad represents everything that we are about. I mean, Chad was kind of a wild card because he's coming directly from
he
being
was the rebellion.
They called him the what did they say? They had like a little like Yosemite Sam or something.
Right.
They talked about when they were talking about it on the election night. The governor race was ultimately. So they kept showing 4 candidates is really what they were showing. And so Steve Hilton did get the endorsement of Donald Trump. And I don't know, for part of me, for a little while, I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know how Donald Trump thinks, nor am I in his brain or think the same way. But I thought to myself, he's one of those guys that could potentially endorse someone just to get everybody to vote for the other candidate, you know? Anyway, that endorsement carried its weight.
I see what you're thinking there.
Yeah,
that would be something.
Yeah. Like who, if he endorsed this person, then
so anybody
that hates Trump is going to vote someone else. You know. Anyway, Hilton actually got the majority of the votes. I mean, he was the top vote getter, and let's see where it says. I don't even think I have the numbers on that, but he came out on top, and then the Becerra. I think Xavier Becerra. I could be saying his name incorrectly, but that's who that was who came in second. So that race was another one where they were just looking for the top 2 vote getters. That one actually doesn't matter in party. You could add 2 Republicans, you could add 2 Democrats. Right. It just so happens that we had a Democrat and a Republican. So I was curious, like, how far back do we go that we've had,
both sides?
And we have. The last 2 elections have both had a Democrat and a Republican. Wow. The last time that we had a Republican governor was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was in 2011. So it has been 15 years since
Did he run Republican?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, he was Republican, and so it's been 15 years since California's seen a Republican governor. So, but I mean, Steve Hilton even had high numbers compared to, Becerra. Yeah. And now Chad Bianco did come in 4th. So they were following the top 4 vote getters. And at one point in the evening, there was actually like a pause to know who between number 2 and number 3 was going to get it. Really? So as of today, Becerra came out on top. I believe that would be the official numbers. But again, in California, they don't verify anything until July. But let's talk a little bit about the difference in these 2 candidates.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah. So Steve Hilton is the Republican. Xavier Becerra is the Democrat. Xavier was the former California Attorney General. He was also the former U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary, former congressman. He's spent over 35 years in government.
See, when I see numbers like that, and I see the longevity of what you've been doing in the government, like having hands in it, at this point in the world that we live in, I don't like it.
I think California is just ready for a change.
I do too.
You know, like these career politicians and these ones that are like, I mean,
they stack their resume. They've worked this way. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're probably working for this day specifically, for sure, right? Or the next step or whatever.
Yeah, president.
Yeah, possibly. Exactly. But when you look at it, I mean, now having that high number as I would like to say I'm a younger voter, right? I mean, I'm 32 now, right? So I've been voting for some time. But when I see the high numbers of them being in that government realm, I don't know anymore, man. It just kind of gets a little. I'm like, I think we could do better.
It worries me a little bit because that to me was Biden. Yeah, and I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. Biden was a train wreck. Like that was. Well, I mean, he wasn't the one running the country. So
I mean, yeah.
But I think when it comes to, I want you to know, like, I am a registered independent. I've shared this many times. I love Jesus, so my viewpoints do usually align closer to Republican than they do Democrat. Right. But I have to say, like, all I look for is what candidate is going to benefit my family the most. That's it. Like, I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. how is it going to benefit my family? How is it going to benefit our community? How is it going to benefit our state the most? That's really what I look at.
What is it going to produce for me long term, for not just me, but everybody that I'm raising at that 100%. Point, right? That's why I look at it.
Yeah, we're raising people in a state right now where, as Marie says, can't afford to live in the state they're being raised in.
Seriously.
So we definitely need change. I mean, we've got there was, oh my gosh, the last 8 years have been a nightmare. And if you guys don't think one person can make a difference, look at how bad our state turned in the last 8 years. So many of the huge companies left our state. That was huge. I mean, the fires, not having any water in Southern California, like it doesn't matter what party you are. Like, look at San Francisco and what happened there. Now, I do feel like that's coming back a little bit, but I mean, what they turned that city into was just awful. And I should say he. Anyway, so let's talk about Steve Hilton. So Steve Hilton is known in the public because he was a former Fox News host and political commentator.
Right.
So he is not from America. I think he's only been here, 4 years?
No, I think more than that.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's been here for longer than 4 years.
And this may even say we did a side-by-side comparison of these two candidates. And so he was the former advisor to the UK Prime Minister David Cameron. He has no elected office experience. So there is some value in that. It's his viewpoint, his core message is California needs major change after years of Democratic control. Now,
which we all agree.
It is,
right?
But one thing that's
what are you
so
bringing
interesting,
to the table?
He was completely backed by the Democrats. His campaign was completely backed by Democratic money. So that was interesting to me.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Now, the core message of Xavier is experience, stability, and protecting California's interests.
What stability?
Pretty general.
Yeah. What stability? Okay, 35 years, boom, experience. But what stability? You have to make that. Like, there is no.
We don't have any stability. We are trained. We're like the laughing stock of the country right now. Okay, so Xavier Becerra appeals to traditional Democrats, labor, government workers, many Latino voters, and establishment voters. That's what this says. Steve Hilton appeals to Republicans, independents frustrated with the cost of living, taxes, housing costs, and public safety concerns. Just for the record, we are going to attempt to get both of these on the podcast.
We will try, yeah.
Yep. Housing is a huge need in California, as we know.
Development. I mean, even just like the cost of living expenses. Like, I mean, it's...
We just don't have enough homes for the amount of people that are in California.
No.
That's the reason for the ADU push, right? You're allowed to have an ADU on your property regardless of what anything ever said before. So for Xavier, he supports government-led solutions and state involvement. So Steve Hilton supports reducing regulations and increasing private sector developments, which is a huge thing.
Yeah.
There are so many restrictions. There's so much red tape that you have to get through in order to build anything in the state of California. And it's so expensive that, like, I know even Trump did that at the beginning of his term, is like, take a lot of those off and let people build the way they're going to build for a couple years just to start getting more housing in California. Energy. That's a huge thing in California, right? Which, speaking of that, we're getting solar on our house right now. I'm very excited to not have to be paying PG&E bills anymore.
Oh my God.
So
expensive.
Xavier, he supports California's current clean energy direction, which means everything going electric.
Yeah.
That is the clean. That is like literally, if you look at new homes that are being built right now, they're not being built with gas.
The more that everything goes electric, I mean, let's just go back to these data centers that have been pulling up, right? Like, if you guys actually look at the statistics of that, like the consumption of what it needs, it is so unbelievably, it's not obtainable, and it's not for longevity, right? Like, it'll run a state dry, especially how big California is. It'll deplete us.
Yeah. It is going to be interesting for sure. So I would say if you do not have solar, you may want to get solar, only because if this does continue going
now, they took all the incentives away too for you to even get solar.
Right now through Sunrun, I can speak from experience, no money down, and they're giving you 2 Tesla batteries for free, and they're going to give you $1,000 gift card per Tesla battery that you get.
Wow.
So that's as of right now.
That's nice.
Yep. So Sunrun, in real estate, I can say that Garrett and I actually experience a lot of solar companies. Because
and they're not all the same.
They're
just
not
tell you
all
that.
the same. And transferring and just dealing with the companies. And I have to say, across the board, Sunrun has been one of the easiest companies to deal with.
That's good.
It's been one of the ones that the most people are the happiest with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I did my research, is in all of the people that we've helped that have had solar, that we've sold their house and had to do transfers. What did you like about this? How easy was it? And Sunrun across the board has been a very top runner in our area.
I've heard mixed reviews on them, but I'm still kind of kicking it around too. But
I think you probably can about all of them.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Now, energy. Steve Hilton argues California energy policies have driven prices too high. He supports expanded production and deregulation, so 2 completely opposite ends of the spectrum there. Taxes, Xavier Becerra generally supports existing Democrat fiscal approach, and Steve Hilton supports middle-class tax relief and reducing regulatory costs. You know what I'm seeing as a pretty constant on these is that Becerra is very general. Yeah. There's not a lot of specifics. Hilton seems to have a little bit more specifics on what he's looking to do, you know? And then if you're looking at so they're saying, what would the biggest strengths of these 2 candidates be? Becerra's biggest strength is that he has deep experience and understanding of government, which we think that could be a positive or a negative, right?
Right.
Could help you or hurt you. Becerra's ability to channel voter frustration and offer a clear alternative.
Hilton.
Hilton,
you said Becerra. So Hilton has the ability to channel voter frustration and offer a clear alternative.
Hilton, ability to channel,
Yeah.
Which is nice, because he's actually looking at the state and saying, what is the need here, instead of just following the already existing policy that may or may not be working.
Right.
What is their biggest weakness? So Becerra's biggest weakness is that he's tied to the current political establishment and California's existing problems. And kind of, it seems like following right in line with that.
Yeah. I mean, again, we don't know what we don't know, but we can only go off of what the information that we've been told. And from also information that we've seen happen, it does seem like a trend here.
I want you to know, this is straight off of ChatGPT. I watched all the sources it pulled all the information from. So this is just doing a side-by-side comparison of these 2 candidates. So we didn't type these up. We just pulled them off. The biggest weakness for Hilton would be that he must convince voters a Republican can win statewide and govern effectively despite limited government experience.
I think that it's a very good. That's his biggest weakness. I definitely agree, because from what he's done, he doesn't have the 35 years experience, right? He hasn't had the 35 years of shaking hands and finding information.
Yep.
There's a little bit different, so I think he does have a little bit more of an uphill battle.
He does.
In the rest of these elections.
I feel like in California, man, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need a new, fresh start.
We need a change, and hopefully that change doesn't bite us in the butt.
I know.
Come up into the future.
That's true. We don't know what we don't know. And at this point, we're just looking in California. I know. Oh, and another interesting thing. So this was just something, because we are getting to Know Amador County. Our previous superintendent so we currently have school superintendent Jared Critchfield currently. Yeah. Jared cleared the votes on the state. So what would it be? He is the county supervisor. So he was up for election for county supervisor, which is voted in. In our community, we are considered a single when it comes to the school district, which is, it's going to sound weird, but in the majority of counties in the state of California, you're a single, which is what that basically means, is that in the state, in all states, there's a county, and then there's multiple school districts within each county. In the state of California, there's 52 counties, and maybe 57, I can't remember. Anyway, there's only 7 that are considered single. And what that means is you have one school district under one county umbrella. There's not multiple districts. So in a county office of education, man, you've got the county office superintendent. You've got everyone. I mean, go to El Dorado County, Calaveras County. I mean, all of these, you've got a county office umbrella. And then underneath that, you've got like the schools, the district superintendents. Well, in our community, we have one district superintendent who has to run for the county superintendent seat. So that's what Jared was just elected for. As a single, our whole district is driven this way.
Wow.
So they all play part of a role on the county side and part of a role on the district side. I want to say it's like 75-25 or something like that. 75% district, 25% county role. And so even their pay is a portion of county and a portion of district. Our entire district is run this way.
Wow.
So when Jared just was elected for that. So when you saw Jared's name on the ballot, that's why.
Okay.
Of course, he was the only one running 10,000 votes, right?
Yeah.
Jared's doing a great job. And so as the county superintendent, what that looks out for is your special education, your services like the first 5, Head Start, like all of like the special education type of the side of the district. That's what the county is. The district side is
special services.
Yes. So
I shouldn't say special, but just
No, for real. That's all of those. And so anyway, that is just to give you a little brief synopsis on that. The reason I'm telling you that is because Amy Slavinsky, so it was Jared Critchfield, current superintendent. Previous was Tori Gibson, who left with throwing a match in a dumpster fire, and who has since been fired from her next district also. The previous superintendent to that, which was Amy Slavinsky, and she was after Dick Glock. So Dick Glock was county superintendent and district superintendent. When he was running, the board did not realize the difference between county and district superintendents, and they let him go. They fired him. Well, you can't fire a county official.
Yeah.
So he was fired from his district side, but he still held on to his county superintendent side. So there was an interim district superintendent at that time, and he was holding the position of county superintendent. Super awkward. Yeah. Super awkward situation. Then I was voted on. I was appointed to the school board at that time,
right?
And that's when Amy Slavinsky was voted in and hired as the superintendent,
the district superintendent.
District superintendent only because Dick Glock was holding that position. Yeah. So then when his term was up, he was obviously not rerunning, and so then at that time Amy was running for county superintendent.
Okay.
Well, now in our community, everyone knows that there are two positions and anyone can really run for county superintendent. Now, mind you, you do have to have an administrative credential.
Right.
There are some criteria.
Requirements.
Yes. But it was a special education teacher, Steve Russell, who decided to run for county superintendent. And and so that was the first time, other than as a teacher, he didn't work his way up. He'd not worked in administration at all. So he ran for county superintendent against Amy Slavinsky and won.
Wow.
So that was crazy. Now, I have to say, previous to that, Amy was holding the county office position for a little while. It was before the election. I think she got Mr. Glock to step aside, and she was appointed as the county superintendent for a short period of time. Then when it was time to run, so we called it a bifurcated system. It's a single district that is not designed to have two superintendents, and we as a school board had to figure out how to have two superintendents. It was crazy. It was okay. So Amy Slavinsky was working as the district superintendent, all the while hating Steve Russell. Yeah. And Steve Russell hating Amy. It was such a contentious situation. Sure. Yeah. So anyway, Amy she did a lot of good things in the beginning. She had to come in and clean up a lot of stuff that hadn't been being done for a while. She did end up giving her notice and moving on, and that was a blessing. It was time. Yeah. And especially during COVID. During COVID, I think Amy showed her truest colors because she was really promoting everyone to stay home. And that was very difficult from a school district standpoint, especially in a district where we had 8 cases of COVID and they were trying to shut the schools. Yeah. Anyway, Amy Slavinsky has reappeared. That's the reason we're talking about this, because Amy actually is running for Assembly, District 9 Assembly, which
7.
covers, is it 7?
Yeah.
I gotta find my paper.
Or District 7.
Thank you. Okay, so She's running for District 7 Assembly, and the top 2 vote getters in that race are going to the November election. And she was one of the she was the Democrat in that race.
Yeah.
And so Josh Hoover was the Republican. He's also the incumbent. There were somebody from an American Independent Party, and then Amy running as a Democrat. And she is one of the top 2 vote getters. So she'll be going to the November election. So kind of interesting that she's gone from education. There's a lot of comparisons that online was doing of even her and Marie Alvarado Gill.
I was about to bring that up because Marie Alvarado Gill went from the school board to Senate.
Yeah. Yeah, the only elected position that Amy Slavinsky has ever had prior to this would have been the County Office of Education, because she held the position because she was appointed, but she was never voted into the county office. So I don't know that she's ever held a candidate or, an elected position before. Yeah. So that's interesting. Anyway, it says that she survived the primary, but the primary really wasn't the challenge. The real question is whether an educator and former superintendent can persuade enough independents and moderate Republicans in suburban Sacramento to unseat an incumbent Republican.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. There's an interesting race to watch and it does not cover our area. Her name will not come up on our ballots because that's more of like the, Sacramento. Anyway, so that was kind of interesting.
That's all over the place. Yeah. That is very interesting. So if you guys figured something out or you guys found something out, go ahead and like that button and hit subscribe. If you guys want more information like this, stay tuned for every Sundays. We're coming to you about anything coming through Amador County and going to maybe show you guys some sweet spots coming up here in the summer now that the summer's out.
We are.
And if you guys haven't, you need to tune in on Fridays for our actual podcast where we talk about a lot of different things and we'd love your input and maybe some topics to talk about.
That's exactly right. And if you feel like you're someone who would like to be interviewed. If you have a message for Amador County or you even have a message for the nation, please hit us up. You can email us at realtalkwkg@gmail.com. So it's basically Real Talk with Kandi and Garrett. realtalkwkg@gmail.com. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official stance of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services or Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Divine Properties or any affiliated entities. This podcast does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice, and listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals regarding their specific needs. While we strive to provide accurate information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness or reliability of any information discussed. We are not responsible for any actions taken by listeners based on the content of this podcast. Additionally, topics covered in the podcast are based on the host's experience and opinions and may not apply to all situations. Listeners are reminded that real estate laws and regulations may vary by location and information may become outdated over time. By listening to this podcast, you agree to release the host, guests, and any associated entities from any liability related to the topics discussed.